Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes Free Palestine. I am your ever-loving host, Shorty. I'm going to review something today which had so many possibilities to let me down. First, I'm going to start by the fact that it's by Rick Remender, and much in the way of Cullen Bunn, the very first thing I read by Rick Remender was just spectacular. It stayed with me for the years since I first read it. I've got every single volume of it. It is very timely for me. I was a child in the 80s, but a teenager in the 90s, so Deadly Class feels like it is 100% scratching that kind of itch for me. It was formulative to my experience of listening to music and movies and TV shows and books, comics I was into. So seeing a comic book set around that time, but also, high school full of kick-ass assassins, but not ignoring the fact that it's the 90s. Loved it. Ever since then, I've been waiting to find something that he's done that's been that good. And I always feel like I'm going to come across like I'm being overly critical when I say this, but no, he hasn't managed it. But it's not like I haven't enjoyed his stuff. There's a whole bunch of Remender things that are in my collection, some of which have made it into my best of the year lists. This right here is one that issue 1 is already on the long list for it, and I feel like if you can nail the second issue, it's going to cement its place in there, because this is brilliant. The other reason I genuinely thought it was not going to be my cup of tea is it's Remender writing about a piece of crap. Now, I don't mind stories where the main character is not necessarily the good guy they want them to be. There's some very interesting stories you can tell along that line, don't get me wrong. I do think Breaking Bad is slightly overestimated by a lot of people, but I read the Flashman books when I was younger, found out after I finished reading that George McDonald Fraser hadn't written Flashman as a villain. That entertained the crap out of me. But he was a very captivating character. He was very self-aware, and I feel like that self-awareness is the tipping point for me. Because yes, you can have a piece of shit character who knows they're a piece of shit, but is absolutely fine with this idea of like, yes, but I revel in this. I get to be who I want to be, and I don't care because I'm a piece of shit. Why should I care? And I think that lacks self-awareness, because you should care to a certain degree. You're one person out of many. This is what we get with Hammerfist. We get somebody who is aware, deeply, fundamentally aware of their failings, and it doesn't mean they are doing anything to get better from it, but it means that awareness shows at least some kind of hope, that there might be a redemption arc. There might not be. I don't know if that's the way this story is going. It's only issue 1. Who can possibly say? But the fact that it is tantalizingly possible, I like, because the other side of this piece of crap storyline is that they will get their comeuppance, and I feel like that doesn't happen quite as often. Flashman towed the line perfectly in this one. He ended up being a hugely successful person while being fully aware of how terrible he was. This is not going to go that way, I don't think, even though, if you look at the cover, appears to be a superhero. Don't worry, that will all get explained in the comic book. I am not going to explain that to you. That's not my job. I'm going to tell you if it's worth checking out, not the story. Because the thing that makes it worth checking out is, like I say, the character. I'm a big character-based kind of guy. You make somebody who is deeply flawed but interesting, somebody who's aware of their failings and understands that they are responsible for their problems. Even in some cases where, we have addiction being a genuine issue, they are still happy to they will still accept that the choices they made to take the easy way out are their issues. But on top of that, which is a brilliant start, we also have a fantastic story. First 2 acts are brilliantly done. We get introduced to the character, his line of work, and the chance of this amazing job comes up. Very issue 1 kind of beats here, no problem whatsoever with that. But all the way through these 2 first acts of the story, we get character building up, we get lore of the world building up, we get a sense of place and time and what to expect. And it looks amazing as happens. Steve Epting, I'm going to say, and Matt Hollingsworth have absolutely nailed this one. Hollingsworth's a fantastic colorist. He gets to really play with like rich, earthy kind of colors for this one. Everything feels like deep and meaningful, and I love it for that. The line work is also spectacular. Individual character design is wonderful. The sense of setting you get from the various angles he plays around with. He understands how to use shot composition. Like, I imagine his photography is amazing if he ever did that kind of thing. Love everything about it. But after all that, you then get to the Act 3, where things go off the rails ever so slightly. I like this. I wasn't expecting it. I honestly hadn't read any blurb about this book whatsoever. I didn't know what to expect going in, so I got to just go along for the ride and thoroughly enjoy it. This is not a bad thing to do. I think sometimes movie trailers spoil this kind of thing. I'm looking at you, Abigail, specifically for this one. You're going to be much better if I didn't know what was going on. This one drops you into it, and it doesn't feel necessarily earned. It is a big left switch, but there's already setups for other things. Because the one other brilliant bit I like about this is the payoff of exposition and setup. There is, even between Act 1 and 2, a really, really nice payoff of something. And in Act 3, there is something which hasn't been paid off quite yet, but I see the foreshadowing of it. And then we get the final panel, which did make me roll my eyes ever so slightly, but in a way which was earned. It feels like that was a beautiful way to end the comic book, to make sure that no matter how fantastical the world is and how crazy the stories go, we are still focused on one person here, and it is their journey which is the important bit. And I cannot wait to see what happens next. That's it for me for now, though. Until I see you all again, look after yourself, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.